Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Right, this brother Obadiah with New Wine Congregation, and I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shemi Awashai. Right, Yahweh is the name who the world calls God, and Yahweh Shai is the name who the world calls Jesus Christ. And I titled this video, "Is It Sin?" Now, this shouldn't be I didn't plan this out to be a long video, man. Just got a couple points I want to touch on, and a couple precepts I want to bring out because I actually seen this post of this brother in the truth. He actually made a post going into this topic, and I was like, man, I want to talk about this a little bit because the brother had a good point, in what he was saying. So before I touch on this video, before I get into it, I got to play the brother, with the shofar, man. All right, all praise to the Most High, man. So, yeah, it's a brother in the truth, man. He actually had typed something up. I don't know if this. I think he did it a while back. I just came across it on my camera roll, and it's just something I want to touch on, man. Because as I read what he said, and I just started thinking, I'm like, dang, this brother got a point, man. Because in fact, let me read what he said first. Now I touch on it, and then I bring some precepts out. He said, "Is it sin? It's the most overused phrase in Israel, and that's why people marriages fail. That's why sisterhood is trash. That's why the Most High is pissed at us. It's called wisdom, discretion, consideration, and love." So no, I read that, right, and as I read it, I just started thinking. I'm like, just hearing about a lot of situations, especially this month, hearing about a lot of situations that been going on, a lot of brotherhood, a lot of marriages, a lot of bonding that a father and a son had, or a mother and a daughter had, maybe in this truth. A lot of those things have been kind of broken up because of that term, "is it sin?" Because a lot of people, I got a couple of examples. We tend to forget about, or we don't consider us being in those shoes that, like, what I'm trying to say, we don't consider ourselves when it comes to other people, or how we want to get treated, or how we want things said to us when it comes to another person. So just a perfect example, right? And I got a few examples, man. I just say, um, just say it comes a time where you have a brother, right? He When it comes to the Most High, when it comes to the business of the Most High, he never comes to camp, right? He come to camp whenever he want to come to camp, and when he do come to camp, he 2 hours late. He don't communicate and let brothers know what's going on, right? So then the brothers go to the elders, right? And then the elders like, okay, we're gonna have a meeting with this brother. So the brothers in there, and they not even brothers, not really disrespecting him. They doing it because they love him. Like, brother, we just want to call you in because we see that you're lacking with this, and we want to be everything done decent in order. Then the brother be like, I ain't seeing. Y'all got me in here in this meeting. I didn't sin. Show me in the book on the law of Moses why I sinned that. So now it's like, dang, bro, like, you didn't sin. Like, the brother didn't sin. Like, we got him in here finna have a talk with him. He didn't sin, right? Which is true, but it goes down to love and just being considerate. Like, if brothers doing something, they just want you to be a part of it. That's what it is. You don't got to be like, is it sin? Because a lot of us in this truth, man, a lot of us, we just throw that around, and that just brothers and sisters just want to do whatever they want to do and mistreat brothers and then mistreat sisters and do whatever they want to do, man. Just like a situation where it's like, just say a sister, she just cuss, they get in an argument with another sister, she just cuss out. She cuss out, you know what I'm saying? Like cuss out in the face. Then the sister go to her and be like, I didn't like how you talked to me. That was very disrespectful. Then the sister hit, well, I didn't sin. You saying I was, I was disrespectful because I cussed at you, but I didn't sin. But that's how situations in situations like that break and tear, man. Because although it's not a sin, we have to consider ourselves. Would you want to get talked to like that? You know what I'm saying? Would you want to get mistreated like that? A lot of us wouldn't. So we have to consider each other, man. That's what the brother was saying when you read what he was saying. He's saying, is it sin? It's the most overused phrase in Israel. That's why people marriages fail. And going back to the marriages, man, like I said, man, you just hear a lot of things. Like you watch brothers videos in the truth, especially WFI. They do something called sticky marriages, and then they go into like different accounts of things that may happen or situations that they've heard, and they go into the scriptures on how to handle those situations. Man, it be a lot of situations, man. And when you truly think about it, a lot of situations that happen in marriages when they fail, a lot of times it could have been avoided if it was just communication and consideration to the other person's feelings, right? Perfect example, I hear this all the time, like during the marriage sticky marriage situations, and just hearing other brothers' testimonies and things other brothers went through on YouTube. They putting out what they went through, or what the things that they heard that they had to counsel. A lot of times, this is what's going on in Israel, man. It may be a brother that he may have a rib, and he have a rib already, and then he decide, or he considered another rib, right? But he end up taking another rib, and then he introducing her to the rib he already got. Now the rib that he already had is kind of like, hold up, what's going on? I didn't know nothing about this. I didn't know nothing about her. I didn't you kind of threw me for a loop, you threw me off guard. But if it was a consideration thing, now we know the brother can say, well, I didn't sin. I don't have to tell you, or if I'm pursuing a woman, I don't have to let you know that, which a brother don't, right? It ain't no sin in there. Our brother don't have to let his rib know that he's pursuing another woman. But when you truly think about it, if you think about the consideration, you're trying to keep the peace in your household, and it also goes into knowing your spouse. If you know what the type of woman your spouse is, and when it comes down to a situation as big as that, man, that's when it comes with, okay, I'm trying to keep the peace in my household. I know if I bring another woman in this household, she gonna flip out, and then the peace that I want, because it all goes back to peace, man. Every man wants peace, right? Right? Every man wants peace when they leave work, when they leave from outside in Babylon the Great dealing with Esau, they want to come home to peace. So us as men, we don't, a lot of times we put ourselves in situations to where the peace is gone. Like, the type of woman your wife is, and you bringing another woman in, and knowing that it's gonna be complete hell within your household, and you bringing it to yourself, that goes into the consideration. Okay, if I'm pursuing this woman, right, or if I got feelings for this other woman, right, let me talk to my real first. Let me let her know, because I understand. At least she won't get thrown off guard, and it should be peace. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, if you just come in there with a situation like that, all hell gonna break loose. So let me try to do my part as the leader of the household, and try not to bring her into a building like she's blindfolded into a situation that she know nothing about. Because it probably be a little bit better if she knew about the situation, and she probably respect you more if you came to her and let her know and say, okay, this is what I'm finna do, instead of just kind of throwing her off guard in a situation like that. But that can be used too. That's why a lot of marriages fail, man, because a lot of things are not, a lot of people emotions are not being considered. Because like I said, a person can say, well, is it a sin? It's not a sin, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it also can bring chaos to you. Just by you not moving in the leadership role as a man, even when you have, if we think about it, of us as leaders, a leader always let his army or his military know the plans of what's going on before they finna attack, or before they go to war. He let them know, okay, this is what we finna do. You know what I'm saying? This the plan right here. He always get a vision out to his troops, even a coach, right? A coach, a football coach, whatever. They finna prepare for a big rival game or a championship game. They know the coach finna let his players know the plan, right? So they don't go in the game not knowing what's going on. They finna watch the film. He finna let them know the scheme or how they finna win this game. So they just don't go in the game clueless and caught off guard, because if you caught off guard, you 9 times out of 10 gonna lose the game. So that's how we gotta think. Us as men, consider. Let me get this scripture right here. We have to in this truth, us as Israelites, the whole nation, we have to be more wise, man, and consider each other, and how a person may respond. A person, you've been around a person this long. If you know this person gonna respond a certain type of way, just don't do it. Even if it might not be a sin. If you know a person gonna respond a certain way, if you may say something to them, or they may be, a person may be what's the word I'm looking for? A person may be a person that, so everybody know a person that you can't say something to because they what I'm trying to say. They not, I ain't gonna say soft, but they just don't take things, they don't take what I'm trying to say, man. Like, so even I say in the world, it was always that person that you couldn't talk to like tough, because they always got in their feelings, right? They always felt like that you was coming for them. They always felt like you had something against them if you came to them tough. So, in the world, certain people you had to just kind of talk to kind of differently, because you knew that they would feel some type of way, even if you came to them with some bass in your voice. You see what I'm saying? So you just have to know people, man. That comes with building a relationship, not only with your spouse, but with your brethren, with your family. You gotta know people, man. Just don't put yourself in a situation. So you in a situation now. Your situation that you once had before, the situation that you in now was better. It was cool. Everything was smooth before. Now you putting yourself and digging yourself in a deep hole. To now, like, damn, you trying to get out this hole that you done dig yourself in. But it wasn't a sin. Things wasn't a sin. That it wasn't. You wasn't sinning, or you didn't sin to get in that situation. You just wasn't considering other people's feelings, right? You wasn't considering, or you wasn't showing that love that you should have to your fellow brother or sister, man. That's how situations or friendships get broken up, right? Because a lot of times, even some friendships don't get broken up because a person sinned. Like, even in the world, a lot of situations, a lot of brotherhood, a lot of sisterhood don't get broken up because a person is sin. A lot of times it be just miscommunication, and it be miscommunication. A person didn't like how another person did, or like they might have hurt their feelings and they didn't communicate that, and then it was it. I'm done with that person. Just the vibe was off after that. So a lot of times it just be miscommunication, man. It just be lack of love, lack of of thinking about a person's feelings. If I do this, how would this person feel if I do this? How would this person react? How would this sister react if I do this, man? So let me get this scripture, and that's part of loving your neighbors yourself, man. You won't want people, you won't want a person not communicating with you. You won't want to be in a situation to where a person throw you up, get you caught off guard. Now a person didn't tell you no details, they didn't tell you what's finna go on. They just throwing the situation in your face. Now you looking like, dang, bro, why you ain't let me know that? Like, dang, bro, you should have let me know early. I would have prepared. I would have got this. I would have brought this. I would have did this. So we gotta think about that on the vice versa as well too, on how we would want to be treated in this situation as well as others. So this First Peter, let me get on the screen. 3 and 7. First Peter 3 and 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. So when it says, when it says husbands dwell with your wife according to knowledge, knowledge is how you going knowledge is knowing your spouse and knowing how they respond in different situations. Knowing that if I do this gonna irritate them, so I'm not gonna do it. Right? If I do this, or if I make this noise, or if I just do this or do some certain things, it's going to put a bad taste in my husband's mouth if I do this. So I'm not going to do this to him because I know how he is. That's dealing with our spouse as a knowledge, man. Giving honor to the wife as unto the weaker vessel. We have to in situations, man. We have to honor, and that goes into just loving your spouse as yourself. You got to think as men. If we want to, if we mistreat our wife and do something to them, we should think like, do I want to get talked to like this? Know what I'm saying? Do I want to just would I want somebody to do me like this? Would I want somebody throwing a remote and hit me in the face? Would I want somebody throwing hot grits on me? Would I want somebody to cuss me out? No, you don't want nobody to cuss you out. So that's dealing with someone with love. We know it's not a sin to cuss. Or you know what I'm saying? We know that those words that they taught us or taught us here in America that are cuss words are in the Bible. And those are not bad words, is what we were taught. But at the same time, what we've been taught, like if a person cuss you out, disrespectful, cussing you out, you'll be mad, right? So we gotta consider our ribs. We going just cussing our ribs out and treating them like nothing, like dirt. We like, dang, would I want to get treated like this from my boss? Would I want my boss to cuss me out? Right? Would I want my boss to lay hands on me? That's considering each other in this thing. Giving honor unto the wife, unto the weaker vessel, and as being the hearers together the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Because so your prayers can be hindered, kings, by how you treat your spouse, man. It's very important to show love, man, because a lot of things that we do, like I said, it may not be a sin. A lot of things that we do or say to our spouse, but are we considering, or are we considering their emotions, right? Are we understanding they're the weaker vessel, so I can't say certain things to them, or I can't do certain things to them, or she may respond a certain way to this because she's the weaker vessel? Do we consider these things, or are we just be like, I'm the head, right? I'm the man of the household. You listen to me. Of course they listen to us, right? Because they was created to serve us. But you consider yourself like in a situation like this. If somebody was a leader over you, or if somebody was a boss over you, would you want your boss to constantly throw that in your face or treat you like a peasant? Would you constantly want your boss to mistreat you? And always when you come in, he tell you a terrible worker. Your boss tell you a terrible worker every day you come into work. He always mean mugging you. He always making jokes about you, them rude jokes about you. Like, no, we wouldn't like that. So we have to consider our spouse like that, and you will do that, and you will see how the household to be more peaceful when you consider your spouse's feelings, man, and not always say, "Well, is it a sin?" It says, it's being hairs together the grace of life. And it was another scripture I wanted on this too. Let me get this, because I know sometimes and it's just something to think about, man. Because sometimes we come into this truth, we tend to forget a lot of things on how we used to be, even in this truth. Even nowadays when we've been in this truth, we go out there. Some brothers go out there, screaming at our people, cussing our people out on the highways and byways, and it's like, bro, would you want to get talked to like that if you didn't know what was going on? Would you want somebody to talk to you like that, disrespect you like that, on how a lot of us do in this truth, man? We wouldn't. So we have to do, we just have to be more loving towards each other, man, and caring towards each other in these last days. Because the Most High gave us knowledge. He gave us wisdom. He gave us understanding on different situations, on how to maneuver in certain situations on when it comes to people. Even when you read the Mighty Book of Sirach, he give you a lot of wisdom. A lot of things he said, that not to do, it wasn't technically a sin. If a lot of things he told you not to do, but it's just wisdom to not allow you to dig your hole or dig a hole in certain situations, and it help you get out of certain situations, or it help you not have to deal with certain situations because you didn't get that far because you use wisdom. It brought peace because you used wisdom. You knew that person and how they would respond before you even made that choice to do it. So you're like, I'm not gonna do that because I'm not finna bring hell to that person's life or to my house. So Colossians 3:19, it says, husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. So a lot of times, a lot of us a lot of men in this truth, they be bitter towards their wives, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this. I'm not making this video to just say that the women just don't do nothing at all. It's just the men. No, because it's a lot of women. It's a lot of situation with women too, man. But I just see these scriptures when it's saying husband, man. So husband, and a lot of situations do start. It go both ways. I ain't gonna say it's just a man, because it definitely go both ways. It go both ways. A man may do something. A man may not do something decently in order, and then the woman, she start bugging out and start saying she ain't married to him no more, and then she start going back into the world and she start denouncing the name of the Lord. So it's all type of madness, man. But it all can be both ways. That situation can be handled both ways, the man and the woman, if it just be love there and consideration towards each other's feelings, man. So it's a husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. So a lot of times, a lot of men, they say a lot of men be bitter towards their wife. Like they be throwing a remote at them. The remote hit them in the head. The woman may do something to him. The man throw the boxing gloves at her, be like, "Hey, bro, let's just box it out." Or the woman may text him. He might be out of town with the brothers. The woman may text him, "Are you okay?" She may haven't heard from him about 5 or 6 hours. Just text him, checking up. Are you good? You fine? the brother texts back, "Stop texting me. I'm good." And then, or the brother might not text her back. Why the hell she worried about me for? Damn, why she worried about me for? She ain't got to do that. I'm a man. Why she keep texting me? Why she text me for and ask me was I okay for? I don't want her to text me that. So it's like certain situations we got to understand, and that goes back to the woman, right? She the weaker vessel. She emotional. She may get, you may be gone for a little while. Satan might start plaguing her mind. What if he got in a car accident? What if he what is he okay? And she just hit you up, be like, "Oh, you everything cool?" Just give it that. Just considering you real. Just hit her text, "Yeah, everything fine. I'm good. I'm with the brothers. I'll be home soon." You know what I'm saying? That's just consideration, and that would stop so many problems. Because if you ignore her and you just be like, or you just be like, "Don't worry about what I'm doing." You know that's going well. As soon as you get home, why you said this? You ain't have to say that. I was just checking on you. I was just want to see was you okay. I was just being a wife. So it's like, bro, if you know that she gonna do that, just text. "Oh, I'm good," just to stop that from happening. A lot of situations just stop. You can see, how it's just stop it from happening before it happens. It's gonna happen. Just don't. Just do what you gotta do, man. And it don't mean that you weak. It don't mean that you a simp. Now a simp is somebody that we know what a simp is. We know what a simp is. But if you just texting your rib and let her know you okay, is not being a simp. You know what I'm saying? That's not being a simp. Texting your rib, texting her back, and letting her know that you're okay, or letting her know where you at. It's not really being a simp. That's just being considerate, because we know that she's the weaker vessel, and we know that her emotions be everywhere, especially if she's pregnant. or she, you know what I'm saying, she done been through a lot of different situations, and she done been traumatized, and it's like, okay, for her sake, I'm gonna let her know that everything fine and that I'm good. For her sake, for her peace. I don't need her overthinking. I'm gonna consider that. That's love. But saying, okay, to hell with you, to hell with you, I ain't gotta tell you nothing. You thought I ain't gotta tell you nothing, you Jezebel. Then when you get home, she why you called me a Jezebel? I was just checking on you. I just want to make sure you're okay. And then you say, well, you coming at me like I sinned. I ain't sin. So it's like certain situations they can be avoided if we just move with wisdom and kind of throw water on the fire. So let me get this scripture right here, and because another one, you have a brother might go to you have a brother might go to the club, right? Brothers might go to clubs. A brother might come to him and tell him, hey, brother, you think it's wise, to be going to nightclubs, because we know, it's different. We know it's different spirits that be in those nightclubs, half naked women, people with all different type of spirits in one area, people going in the clubs high and drunk, and you don't want to really be around that environment when people just drunk and high and women shaking their butt, because you subject to temptation while you going in there. It ain't like Yahweh Shai when he was going around sitting with sinners and rebuking them and telling them to stop coming out of sin. But if you in the nightclub just in there just with a drink, just just vibing out, you think that's wise, brother? Then the brother say, bruh, you coming at me, but show me what a sin that I did. So show me why I sinned that. It's not a sin, brother. It's not a sin. The Bible don't say nowhere in the law that you can't be in no nightclubs and things like that. But it's like, bro, if you use wisdom, if you just use wisdom and just think for a second, like the Most High didn't say that, but he told us certain spirits in 1 Corinthians 6:9, if certain spirits that we be in or things that we doing, when he come back, we gonna be destroyed. And you are allowing those spirits, those same spirits that he said for us not to be in, you just allowing those spirits to hop on you when you're going in that place around all those different people, man. And choosing to, we're not talking about at a job, you know what I'm saying, at a job, because at a job, we know people have spirits on them at jobs, but we talking about at a nightclub when it's half naked women twerking on poles. Then you got men in there high, you know what I'm saying, ready for somebody to say something to them so they can black out. They're ready to crash out. You are around in a building around intoxicated people, people full of fornication, a man looking for a woman to take home, a woman looking for a rich man to go home with. You in a club with you in there with all type of wicked music playing. So that's a spirit can hop on you from the music. They playing worldly music in there. So you're in an area where it's worldly music playing. You listening to that. Now you're smelling all the marijuana. You smelling all the people that smoking marijuana and cigarettes. So that's going against you. So a spirit of that weed spirit can hop on you. That fornication spirit can hop on you through the music, and that murder spirit can hop on you through the music. Lust spirit can hop on you in there when you're around all those naked women. You looking at a woman that's naked the whole time she got a husband at home, but you looking at her, you know what I'm saying? You thinking of wicked thoughts that you want to do to her. Then you take her home. Then you find out she married. So now you're looking sick. Like, I didn't know she was married, but why you put yourself in that situation? But then the brother say, it ain't sin though. It's not a sin for me to do that. It ain't a sin for me to smoke. Where to show me in the Bible, where it's in the law, where it says it's a sin for me to do meth, brother. Brother, show me in the law where it says it's a sin for me to do meth. Show me in the law where it says it's a sin for me to smoke weed. Show me in the law where it says it's a sin for me to sniff cocaine. Show me. So a lot of times that isn't sin can be our downfall, because people do things or do things to people because they say it's not a sin, but it's like, is it wise? Is it wise to do that? Is this you doing this? Is this gonna break, or is this gonna hunt you in the long run? Is it gonna come back and backfire in your face? When it's all said and done, these are things that we have to think about, man. These are things we got to think about and consider each other's feelings, and just be human beings, right? Be human beings. So, let me get this scripture right here. Let me get Luke. Luke 6:31. And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. So this is what we have to consider, man. This is what we have to consider when it comes to brotherhood, sisterhood, marriages. It said, as you would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. So if you, when it comes to a situation on dealing with our people, consider yourself, would I want this done to me? Before you go and talk reckless to your brother and start calling him out his name and telling him he's worthless, consider, would I want that done to me? Would I want that done to me? Consider that, man. Consider it, just different situations, right? When it comes to my real, I go in there just mistreating her, doing this, doing all type of things, being secretive. Then she asked me what's going on. I'm cussing out. What I want that done to me? What I want. I put, for men, it's good to use your boss for these type of situations, or your leader, or your dad, or whoever. What I want them to come at me and talk crazy to me, right? What I want them to always tell me, or always point out the bad that I do, but they never point out the good that I'm doing. They always say, "Oh, you a sorry spouse. You never can do this right. Yada yada. What I want this done to me? No. So I'm gonna consider they feelings. Would I want somebody to nag me when I'm sick or sleepy? No. So I'm gonna consider that when it comes to my spouse. This how we got, and this was gonna bring us peace, man. No brother wants chaos in a household, bro. And a lot of these situations can be avoided if we think, or think, do what I want this done to me by somebody else. Even vice versa with the sisters. How you treat your husband. Would I want my mother or my grandmother or another sister to talk to me like this, or to mistreat me like this, or to put their hands on me, or to tell me that I'm worthless, or to tell me that I'm useless? But you telling your husband that, but you don't want nobody to tell you that. That's why he said, and as you would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. You want people to look out for you when you down. You want people to be there for you when you low in the spirit, right? So be there for them too. Be there for them. So 1 John, right? Because although some things may not be sin, but it can bring hell to you. It's the thing that you do can bring hell to you because you didn't move in wisdom. Because you gotta think about it. Us as being leaders of a household, being leaders of a camp, being leaders of a church, it's like, bro, we know things got to be done decently in order. We understand that as being leaders, we understand that we have to have things planned out. We have to. You are literally the people that people look up to in different situations. So it's like we got to have things planned out, and just consider your soldiers' feelings. Consider the feelings of your brothers that labor with you. Consider the feelings if you a sister and you teaching other sisters, and you know that you may be an elder, a sister that's an elder in this truth, and like a lot of young sisters may be looking at you. Consider them, man. Right? Consider them. Consider their feelings, man. And that's what's gonna get us far in this thing. First John 4. First John. Wait, hold up. First John 4 and 7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth Yahweh. So the Bible said, let us love one another, man. So we know love. We know love is also, we know love is how we showed it, how we show the most, how we love him by keeping the commandments. And also we know love is keeping the commandments, but also another form of love is just being considerate of your brothers and sisters, or just being, or just be moving in wisdom, and just knowing a person, and just understanding, if I do this, or I may do a huge, a huge situation, or I might do something, and they may not be ready for it. They may not be ready for it. I may do something they may not be ready for it, and I understand, okay, they not ready for this. So you know what? I know it ain't a sin if I do it, but I see that this what I may do may bring this brother or sister down. So I'm gonna consider this, even though I wouldn't be in sin if I do it. I could do it and I won't be in sin, but I got love for this brother. I got love for this sister. I got love for my wife. I got love for my husband, that I'm not gonna do it, because I understand how they're gonna respond to it. And they may not be ready for it yet. They may not be built up in the spirit for what I'm finna do right now. That's considering, each other in this thing. We have to consider one another in this truth. Cause like I said when I first started this video, a lot of marriages, and a lot of like the brother said, a lot of marriages, a lot of brotherhood, a lot of sisterhood, a lot of friendships have been broken up, not because the person may have sinned, and they broke up their friendship, but it wasn't no consideration towards each other's feelings. It wasn't no love there. It wasn't no discretion. What the brother said, it wasn't no consideration. Read what he said again. Is it sin? It's the most overused phrase in Israel. And that's why marriages fail. That's why sisterhood is trash. And that's why the Most High is pissed at us. It's called wisdom, discretion, consideration, and love. And that's kind of how, when Peter and the disciples came on the scene, Yahweh Shai, that's what they was mostly teaching. You had the scribes and the Pharisees that was coming up mainly saying, well, is it a sin? If somebody tried to check them for what they did, or mistreating them, or just the things they was doing, a lot of times they was like, well, is it a sin? And a lot of times what they doing wasn't a sin. But what they was, the thing they was doing, or treating people, wasn't love. Because they wouldn't want to get treated or spoken to like how they were speaking to other people. And this is what Yahweh Shah basically come and teaching, man. We got to teach that love and compassion towards each other. We know we know the law is perfect, right? We understand that, we must keep the law, but like the scribes and Pharisees, like a lot of them was doing, they was just pushing the law, but they wasn't teaching the other side of the law, the love and compassion, the forgiving towards each other. They wasn't teaching that. They were just saying, going into the law, if a person came to them and was like, bro, you kind of, I don't, you was disrespectful to me. You was cussing me out. You put your hand, you kind of nubbed at me. I ain't really like that, man. I ain't really like that. Then the first thing they was doing is open up the Bible. Wait, ain't no sin. So get out of here, Negro. It ain't no sin. So why you coming at me telling me something that's not a sin? That's what a lot of them was doing. Or you may tell them, bro, Rabbi, they was calling him Rabbi. Rabbi, I seen you in the other scribes. I seen y'all at cause they probably had nightclubs back then. I seen you at a kickback or a club. I just wanna come with you like a brother and just let you know, man, just to be careful. I don't think it's wise to be going in there. It's a lot of spirits can hop on you. First thing they doing, well, it ain't no sin, right? It's not a sin for me to go in there, so I can go in there. Why you coming at me like that, trying to come and correct me when I ain't sin? We can't be like that, man. Right? We can't move like that. Look at this scripture right here. Hebrews 10. Hebrews 10:22. Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that praise. My bad. Is faithful that promise. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good work. So let us consider one another, man. And this talking about, think about a brother and sister to provoke them to good works. So it just consider each other, man. Consider that person. Consider that person feelings. Consider that person emotions before you make a decision. Not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as ye see the day approaching, right? So let me get this last scripture right here. So we're at 25:1. And three things I have beautified instead of beautiful, both before God and men: the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, a man and wife that agree together. Right, so these are things that this is what Sirach said he glorified, or he seen that was very beautiful, which the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, and man and wife that agree together, man. So these are things that we gotta truly think about. We don't want to break up a brotherhood because of a situation that we say is not a sin, but the whole time you didn't use wisdom, or you didn't consider that person while you did it, and it's like now that person tore down. And now that person tore down because you talked to them a certain way, or you kind of embarrassed them and things like that. The love of neighbors and man and wife that agree together. So these are just things that we had to consider in this truth when it comes to how we treat each other. Yeah, certain things may not be a sin. It may not be said in the law that that there's not a sin that we're doing, but just consider your fellow brother or sister, man. Right? Just consider your brother or sister, man. Because the scripture said, if you offend one of these little ones, even brothers and sisters that may be knowing this truth, you may offend them by how you. I remember one time it was a brother, right? A brother told me when I first came into the truth, when I had just first came into the truth, and I was passing out flyers. Right? I was passing out flyers, um, try to get my feet wet to be able to go out there and teach, because I felt like I wasn't ready to go out there and teach yet, because I'm knowing the truth. I don't know everything. So I was just passing out flyers, telling people the truth. And then our brother told me, he basically told me, hey, you ain't doing the works. Yahweh Shai didn't say go out there and pass out flyers. He said go out to the highways and byways and teach my people, which passing out flyers and cards is a form of waking up the ministry, but it's how that brother said that, how our brother said it. Now, if I wasn't strong in his truth, that could have made me fall out the truth, right? If I wasn't strong just about how that brother spoke to me, that could have made me feel like I'm not, dang, I'm wasting my time out here. And that could have made me stop passing out flyers, just go sit in the house and be a keyboard warrior. So certain things that you say to people and how you say it to people, even though it may not be a sin, you can tear that person down, man. So we got to consider these things when it comes to one another, because Yahweh Shai gonna consider that, man. Yahweh Shai gonna pay attention to how we treated each other in this thing, right? So, and how we spoke to one another and how we treated our spouse. You know, so Lord, when this video was edifying, man, I didn't want it to be too long. How long it was? 44 minutes. That's perfect. So Lord willing, brothers and sisters, got something out of this video. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Shema Shai. I say Shalom.